One road has spawned more rumors and tall tales by far than any other road throughout New Jersey. Clinton Road in West Milford. Clinton Road seems to strike terror into the hearts of those who travel it. This rugged, 10-mile stretch of deserted road right off Route 23 in West Milford is so rich in lore that it has attracted late-night visitors for generations. Where else can you find Satan worshippers behind every tree? Sacrificed goats and chickens littering the woods like leftover barbecue, and black trucks chasing innocent teenagers over dark, pothole-ridden roads? Rumors of bad vibes have been floating in the area since it was first settled. In 1905, J. Percy Crayon wrote about the woods just beyond the Clinton Furnace. It was never advisable to pass through the 5-mile woods after dark, for tradition tells us they were infested with bands of robbers and counterfeiters, to say nothing of the witches that held their nightly dances and carousels at Green Island, and the ghosts that then made their appearance in such frightful forms that it was more terrifying to the peaceful inhabitants than wild animals or even the Injuns that often passed. The stories that sightseeing sojourners have brought back with them of their adventures are sometimes harrowing, often terrifying, and almost always intriguing. Many of these tales of midnight joyrides may seem unbelievable, while others leave one wondering just where truth ends and an overactive imagination begins. So join me, friends. Let's walk down the scariest road in the United States, Clinton Road in West Milford, New Jersey. Let's go. Castles seem to have always inspired the imagination. The Cross Castle is no exception. Built by Richard Cross in 1905, it looked like something out of a fairy tale. Its walls were 3 stories high. A fire destroyed the wooden part of the structure, leaving the walls intact as a place where hikers, teenagers, and the occasional Satan worshippers could congregate. In its abandoned state, the ruins of Cross Castle would become the stuff of legends. For some, it may have just been a place to party. For others, it was a place of pure evil. In 1988, the Newark Watershed Commission deemed the remaining structure unsound and knocked down the walls. You can see remnants of the concrete still existing today, but the castle on Clinton Road will live on in local lore and weird New Jersey mythology forever. Cross Castle, which used to be off Clinton Road, had dungeons where many bodies were found. Satan worshipping was active around Cross Castle, and the KKK was also rumored to be active in the area as well. Never get out of your car, especially at night. It is definitely weird. 2 friends, brothers who I'll call John and Bill, regularly took excursions through the areas of West Milford. They were driving down Clinton Road. Both noticed a bonfire near Cross Castle. As they drew closer, they saw a group of people dressed in robes around a bonfire. They could make out the leader, who was dressed in typical KKK regalia. One of the members of this meeting spotted them and called out to stay where they were. Of course, John and Bill took off in their car and left. Their hooded friends got into their vehicles and began chasing them. John and Bill said they were wielding shotguns. I had a friend who lived near Clinton Road. He used to take me on May Day and Halloween's Eve to spy on Wiccans practicing in the areas near his house. It was a nice afternoon in 1977. We decided to get our packs, a tent, and a rifle to spend the night up in the woods. I took a journal along with me. When we came upon the castle, we were amazed, as always, at how it looked and how it stood out in the woods. We entered it and were shocked to learn that someone had put up 2 huge boards with words spelled out in red paint. The nature of the writing intrigued me, so I copied down what the walls proclaimed, and my friend snapped a picture. The journal stayed in a box until 6 months ago, when, after my wife's death, I was going through everything and read it. I went to a local bookstore to match my journal with the Lex Satanicus. What was once scribbled down in my youth was now revealed as one of the writings of Anton LaVey of the Church of Satan. I concluded that the tales about Clinton Road were seriously understated. The Satanists who practiced there were not a joke, but a local grotto of people using dark forces to bring forth their evil reign. Now, when I go to Clinton Road, I look at everything in a different light. We would tell people the Jackson Whites would cut a tree to block the road. Then, when you turn around, you'd find that they had cut down another one. That's when they would get you. We parked the cars, got out, lit a fire, and drank some beer. After a half hour, we began to hear chanting and chains rattling. One of the girls started to go into a seizure. 3 of us tried to move her, to no avail. It was like she was nailed to the rock. Then the chanting stopped. The girl came around. We all looked at each other like, what the hell is going on here? I have actually taken 3 trips to the castle. The first time, we found the castle by accident. We wanted to see if the rumors were true. I will tell anyone, never step over the boundary of the castle. One of my friends did so. She became stiff and ran out of there. She said she saw something in her head, a little boy being slaughtered. We decided to get the hell out of there. We realized that my other friend had dropped his wallet on the trail. We headed back around 11 p.m. I was so nervous about going back, so the other people did without me. My friend once again started gagging. We drove to our local diner, and I noticed a bruise across my friend's neck. About a month ago, my sister, her husband, my boyfriend, and myself decided to take a ride down Clinton Road. We started from Route 23, and it was around 12:30 in the morning. I can't exactly explain the feeling I started to get, but I don't know if my imagination was just going wild or what, but my sister, my boyfriend, and me started telling my brother-in-law to turn the car around. I felt so scared and sick to my stomach that I couldn't even breathe. It was an oppressive feeling, like just pure evil, and I definitely believe that something would have happened if we had just kept going. A demolition crew came in and destroyed the castle, and all that remained was the basement. On the walls were old satanic scriptures. This baffled the demolition crew because there did not appear to be any entrance to this area of the castle. The environment surrounding Clinton Road has always been home for a variety of wildlife. Some species a little more wild than others. Black bear and poisonous snakes have always been present in these West Milford woods, and more recently, coyotes have become a feature of the landscape. The threat that these critters pose pales in comparison to the fearful animal apparitions that some of our readers have told us they've encountered on Clinton Road. I never thought that my first trip to Clinton Road would be so horrifying. As we were turning, in the bushes appeared to be a grayish-whitish wolf with red-yellow eyes. Later on, no joke, my friend told me about his first trip, where he also saw a grayish-whitish wolf with red and yellow eyes running in the bushes. One legend states that Cross Castle rebuilds itself every October 30th, and the KKK sacrifices a goat. I get scared every time I go down the road that leads to that area, because the one time I went down there, a strange figure chased our truck out to Clinton Road. When I got a good look at it, I screamed and told my friend to drive faster. It was a dog of some sort, but it was floating, not running. One night, my sister and her friend were driving down Clinton Road when my sister's friend says, "What is that?" My sister looks, and there was a monkey. They were both so freaked out. Monkeys aren't common in West Milford. After traveling through Clinton Road once, nothing had happened. So we decided to go back and check out a dirt road that led off to the side. Nothing was around except for some woods. It felt very eerie, and the trespassers will be shot on sight sign did not ease my mind. That's when I noticed something walking toward our car. All 8 of us saw the same thing, an animal of some sort. We went 60 down this road with this animal on our back chasing us. Finally, we got on Clinton Road and got pulled over by a cop, and the animal just disappeared. People say it's a hellhound or maybe the Jersey Devil. All I know is it was not human. Probably the most common ghost story that we hear about Clinton Road is that of a dead young boy who hangs out under a bridge and returns coins to you after you throw them in the water. As far as we know, this tale is unique to Clinton Road, but it's difficult to say when or how the story began. Although he is the most talked about apparition to haunt Clinton Road, he is by no means the sole spirit to spook this street. If you ever decide to travel down Clinton Road at midnight, stop by the bridge by Dead Man's Curve. As the story goes, if you sit on that bridge and throw pennies into the river, the ghost of a young boy will throw them back at you. Years before any of us heard about the road, a boy was challenged by his friends to stand on the bridge as they drove to Route 23 and back. Unfortunately, by the time the friends returned from driving to the highway, they found their friend dead. Another rumor of Clinton Road is that if you throw a penny into the lake, the next morning the penny will be on the road. Supposedly there's a kid that drowned there trying to get a ball or something, and the kid is supposed to appear at night and pick up the penny and put it on the ground. My friends and I decided to try out for ourselves what is true and what is not. We went to the bridge and threw a quarter off of it. Not but a minute later, you hear the bloop, as if you drop the quarter in again. The water filled with ripples, and a child's reflection appeared. I flew back to that car. That scared all of us. The story I heard was that a little boy was hit by a car and killed on the bridge when he went to pick up a quarter he saw on the ground. The legend is that if you get out of your car and stand on the bridge, you will see a quarter drop, and if you bend down to pick it up, the little boy will push you into the lake to save you from being hit by the car. I threw a quarter off the edge, and we drove away. On the way home at 11:30, we passed over the bridge and stopped because my friend Mike wanted to point out the kid's name on the side of the bridge. Just when he said the kid's name, a quarter or something metal was thrown hard against the window of the car. This one girl was racing down Clinton Avenue toward Route 23 in her blue 1988 Chevy Camaro. She slammed right into the cement divider on the sharpest turn on Clinton Road and was killed instantly. If you tell someone else the story of the accident while you drive down Clinton Road, you'll also see a blue 1988 Chevy Camaro drive by. When my friend Vince told me the story, we saw headlights in the distance, and when the car passed, we made it out to be a Camaro. Hanging out at the old castle was great. Much farther up the road on the right, there are trails that'll go up the mountain to a lake called Terrace Pond. The pond was crystal clear and great for swimming. We were camping one night around 1 a.m., and 2 park rangers noticed our fire and walked over to us. They were concerned about the fire, the drinking, etc. We asked if our vehicles would be okay where they are, and asked if they would be ticketed. They said they were fine, and no ticketing would be carried out. In the morning, we ventured down the mountainside and approached our cars, and they had 2 summonses per car. West Milford Police and Newark Watershed authorities approached us, and we asked them about the park rangers, and they looked absolutely bewildered. One of the Newark Watershed authorities replied, "What did these park rangers look like, and what were they wearing?" We described their appearance, and the authority told us that there were no park rangers patrolling the property anymore, and the 2 men we saw that night were actually killed on patrol in 1939. Did you ever get that strange feeling that someone was watching you? That a pair of eyes were fixed upon you from somewhere, but you just couldn't figure out whose or from where? Well, that feeling seems to be pervasive among the people who travel on Clinton Road. Most folks can just shrug off these feelings as paranoia. On Clinton Road, however, the uncomfortable feeling that someone is watching you is all too often followed by the realization that somebody actually is. My friend lived in West Milford right off Route 23 and across from Clinton Road. We used to play in the woods behind her house, and we would pretend that someone was chasing us. The strange thing is that sometimes we would turn around and actually see someone chasing us. It was this dirty-looking barefoot kid. He would chase us all the way to the edge of the woods, but he would have gone by the time we got to my friend's swing set in the background. We never knew who he was. We always called the boy Jackson White, although I don't know where we got that name from. About a mile up Clinton Road, We pulled over so we could get out and walk around. With flashlights in hand, we made the journey into the woods. I was leading this bunch of ghost hunting explorers when I saw a man about 20 feet in front of me. He was about 6 foot tall with black pants and a red jacket, and he was staring straight at me. I looked back, and my friends were not paying attention to the weirdo ahead of us. The one thought that went through my mind was, what the hell is this guy doing in the middle of the woods at 2 o'clock in the morning, staring at me? I can never remember being that scared before in my entire life. My wife and I used to go swimming on Clinton Road. The last time we went, we received a scare. It was getting a little dusky out. It was a hot summer night, and we were swimming in the pool by the waterfalls. I dove off the waterfall rock in order to swim to the opposite shore. When my head came out of the water, there was this dude standing there on the edge, staring at me. He wasn't there before I jumped off the rock, and it would have been impossible for him to run up to that spot while I was surfacing. He then had this German shepherd and this piece of black felt over his head. My wife let out a noise, for she saw him too. He never said a word, just stood there. I said, "What's up, bro?" in a real shaky voice. He kept staring with this expressionless face. He didn't reply, so I turned around to tell my wife to jump in so we could leave on the opposite shore. We swam to the side and got out and peered over our shoulders, shaking from pure fear. And of course, he was gone. One factor that makes all the stories told about Clinton Road even more tangible is the tales of bodies being deposited and discovered along its wayside. Traveling through wilderness along the expanse, even the most law-abiding people might find themselves thinking that this would be a perfect place to dispose of a body. Peering into the forests on either side of the road, one can't help but wonder what has been found there by accident over the years, what gruesome discoveries are yet to be made, and what might lie out there somewhere in a shallow grave that will never be found. Clinton Road provides easy access to New York State. Because of this, the New York Mafia would often take their victims' bodies into New Jersey and dump them in the woods off Clinton Road. Therefore, if the bodies were ever discovered, the state of New York was not involved in the investigation, and the Mafia was safe from persecution. People hired by the Mafia will still drive Clinton Road on a regular basis because they were aware of the attention that it has gained and fear people like you who have made public the fact that Clinton Road is haunted. They are the ones who chase the kids out. I've had many weird experiences up on Clinton Road. I was coming home one night with a friend, and we approached the curve located in the middle of the road. There, lying in the road, was someone in a body bag. The blood could be seen on the bag. I put the car in reverse and went back the way I came. We called the police. They found nothing. No blood, no body, no trace of anything. In May of 1983, a bicyclist on a deserted stretch of Clinton Road noticed buzzards circling a tree. When he investigated, he discovered a plastic garbage bag in the woods with a human head sticking out of one end. This murder not only helped add to Clinton Road's dark and mysterious legend, but also helped crack the case of the Iceman murders and earned the murderer, mob hitman Richard Kuklinski, his chilly moniker. The corpse had a single bullet wound in the head, which quickly determined to be the cause of death. What was not so easily determined, though, was the time of the death. When the county medical examiner began his autopsy, he noticed that although the outside of the body had begun to decompose, the internal organs were still quite fresh. Upon closer inspection, the doctor found ice crystals on the victim's heart. This led investigators to conclude that the body had been frozen for some time to disguise the time of death. Investigators knew of the victim's association with Kuklinski, and this motivated them to watch the Iceman more closely, which helped lead to his eventual capture. Kuklinski was convicted of 2 murders and was sentenced to 2 concurrent 60-year sentences. He would eventually admit to icing about 100 unfortunate associates, although the actual death toll is probably much, much higher. He is currently incarcerated in Trenton State Prison and will be more than 100 years old before becoming eligible for parole. For quite some time, I practiced Wicca along with my following of LaVey and the Lex Satanicus. The Wiccan in me always drew me to strange places in order to find others to bond with. I spent many nights near and on Clinton Road. I first went there in order to see if there was a spiritual significance to the area, and boy, there was. I proceeded to build a shrine to use in my practices. I won't go into all the rituals I practiced there, but there were sacrifices and spells cast. 7 of us used this site, 5 who actually dwelt on Clinton Road itself. Sometimes we would walk just off the road near the bridge and practice levitating, casting invisibility spells, possessing dogs, and other stuff. Many times we would stand on the bridge, cast barrier spells, and people would go by and never see us. At night, we would stand just off the road and call forth apparitions and see if others could see them. Sometimes cars passing by or people checking out the place would see some of these manifestations and run home like the wind. I do not want to reveal everything we did on the road, but I felt that I should let everyone know that most of the stories you hear are only the beginning of what really goes on in there. I've been a resident of West Milford for practically my entire life. I have a lot of eyewitness info on Clinton Road. The first and most important fact is that this road is not a joke. Many of the stories you hear are not rumors. In fact, most of them are true. However, every story does have exaggerations. The facts are that many dismembered bodies are found in the woods off of Clinton Road. Cross Castle did exist, and if you go to the wrong place, you will be chased. The KKK does have gatherings there, and there is satanic worship. The strange animals are there, and though no one knows why they are, many people have a theory that some of the survivors from jungle habitat have interbred. So all in all, if you're going to check out Clinton Road, be careful and be smart, or else you will be the next tale. Wow, this place is totally scary. We got a flat in the center of 10 Mile Road. When the cop asked what we were doing, we lied. We asked why he was on such a scary road. His reply was, "I'm only out here because I have a gun." You can decide for yourself whether or not to believe some of the more fantastic stories about these mysterious roads, but one thing is for sure. The people who lived these tales believe them, and they will not soon forget their experiences. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.